Uh-oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy
Good
Wednesday.
morning. Good morning.
It's almost
Good
at
morning.
the end of the month and a very special time, I think, because we not only is it the year of the dragon, we also have we have a leap year, right? So that's Thursday, extra day
Oh,
year.
when leap year?
Leap year on the 29th. Yes.
No, okay, I wasn't thinking about it. Sorry. I was like, just go by the days, trusting God for each day. I didn't even look at how many days were in the month.
I have a friend who I think she hasn't, I think she gets to celebrate her anniversary because she's got married on leap year.
Oh my goodness.
Nice, right? Not having to buy that many gifts.
Oh goodness. We want to welcome our guest. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's Success and Setbacks, where we share about the ugly, the good, the bad, and especially for Couple Tree and what we're doing. So today we have AI and automation, and we're allowing our guests to roll in right now so that they can catch the juice. And if you can't really join us right now, just watch the replay. So we're excited this morning. There's so much to share. Oh my goodness. I don't even know where to start from. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Lena.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Addie. I think it's time for us to really start talking about what does Cobbletree offer and also our own success and setbacks, right? And so how we started. So Addie and I started, so I'll kind of share the story real quick is that we started out wanting to do this platform and sharing some tips, tools, and techniques for entrepreneurs. And a few weeks later, we're like, why don't we do this as a business and a platform where we are focused on helping a community of entrepreneurs? Then we took it a step further, so as we kept diving in, looking at different platforms, starting to get technology to help hyperdrive and accelerate that success for entrepreneurs, really boiled down to using automation, AI, and optimization. And so I mean, we have our own good, bad, and ugly in that way. I wouldn't say it was ugly. I don't know. I mean, AI is beautiful, in my opinion, and so it's evolving, right? And I think entrepreneurs, like, you have to roll with the punches, and I think that's what the beauty of this journey is. And so yeah, so I'm excited to partner with businesses. And so I one thing I want to talk about today with Addie and I is talking about what we're experiencing with small business owners and entrepreneurs, and what they're and how they're staying ahead of the game and where they're having some gaps or challenges, and then how are they really growing from that, and how they're really finding some, because we're partnering with them for those responses. So Addie, we've met with some businesses, and what we find is that they're they're gaining revenue in one area. So meaning they go, Lena, I've been so grateful, and they're saying, Lena, Addie, we've been so thankful to have referrals, 100% referrals. But we are aware that if we continue with only those referrals and they dry up, then it can hurt my business drastically, because I would like shut down. And so I think that's good news, right? And so also that they may get a higher percentage, maybe 80% of their business is through government contracts or government funding. So if the government funding for some odd reason was swing to the other end of the pendulum, that would also dry up that revenue, right? So they're like, nope, not good. We also have to add another opportunity of working with private clients. And so what I hear, which is good, is several businesses are ahead of the game, and so they're not only looking at, I need to have income in three ways, which is what we recommend, revenue. And so we'll explain that a little bit more. But also is that because of the 70 million baby boomers that are, we know to retire in 6 to 7 years, they've already started to retire. So the way the wealth shift is going to happen can be, business, someone offering you a business, and you buy that business, and that is a multi-million-dollar business. It can be real estate. It looks in different ways, right? So for sure, I know I was like, I'm not sure. People go, well, are you sure you know what you're talking about? I'm like, I do know what I'm talking about. So if, as we are preparing for these 70 million, there is money coming across the table, but we have to be prepared for it. You can't just let it sit there. So here's where we come in. And so Addie, he's CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Entrepreneur Guru. I will say that till the day I die. So what are you seeing as opportunities for automation, AI, and optimization as we've met these businesses? What would you say that's seeing through your lens? I think it's on mute.
mic?
Oh, there.
I'm
Good.
on mute
Oh,
now. Okay,
cool.
cool. Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. I was going to say, so I'll say automation has been around for a while. And I think it's important for us to figure out ways to actually automate certain processes and systems within our organization. Okay. I started off as a developer. We're talking about, some of our experiences, right? So I started off as a developer, and I was privileged to work at a company that handled logistics, and they had big clients like Aeron, ExxonMobil, Chevron. And I'll say some of the things that I learned as per structuring my business, I actually learned it from that environment because, there's certain standards we had to meet. There's certain things that we have to, percentage score that we have to make on a daily basis. And then they do evaluation at the end of the week. And then they do some decision making on Monday. It's interesting. One of the, this is going to be so interesting. I left that job maybe about 20 years ago. And the person that I reported to for progress reports actually liked one of my comments on LinkedIn yesterday. I was like, oh my goodness, this is like almost 20 years ago. So,
Attention.
but one of the things I learned there was setting up proper systems in place. We had SOPs, we had, certain things that we standardize, which is important. Because whatever you're able to structure and standardize and become a system that can be repeatable is what we can actually automate, And once you do that, it gives you a clear vision of where you're going and it helps you to scale and grow. Some of us we're struggling, especially for single entrepreneurs or even partners, even within our company with Cobbletree, just between last year that we opened up and now, we had to do a number of structuring and seeing what things that have to be repeated, have a system in place and creating a culture. There were so many foundations that we had to put in place. And so when it comes to automation, especially for entrepreneurs, when you're passionate about what you're doing, you can get so engrossed within your company and you may not be able to work on the company itself. You're taking care of clients, you're doing all these things, and there's some repetitive tasks that can actually be, you can put on automation and require some programming. The beautiful thing is that in the past, when I was a developer, it required a lot of work to get that done. You have to get a developer, get those things together. But now we actually have systems and modules that are ready to go to help you do those repetitive tasks and automate them. Yeah, so that's one thing I'll just advise for automation. You need to have a clarity of vision in as per what is your typical day like? What is your typical week like? What are the things you keep on doing repetitively? You probably heard from some experts that will say, oh, those repetitive tasks, give it to a VA, which is good. But if you can automate some of it, you can give the rest to the VA, right? To do the one that has a personal touch. So, yeah, awesome.
Absolutely. So I love that you talk about the repetition. I think people don't necessarily look at it because it's the way they've always done, and so, that's when we sit with them, we actually do like a comprehensive review, a 360 view of what are they doing that is repetitious, several areas that might require 10 steps, right? And so talk to me about and share like how, because I told you, I said I was in one of those offices, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, just like in the first few minutes, they lost 4 calls. And they typically charge about $3,600 to $7,000 per client. So if you're just doing bare minimum 3,600 times 4, and those were potential clients, that's kind of a lot of money within a few minutes. So like, where can AI help with those things, right? Like drop calls and so forth. Or do they even people see that they realize that that's money? I don't know that they know that that's money. So
okay, so that's interesting. I actually read up an article recently about the what we lose when we miss calls, and I had people contact me and say, oh, I called you, and I was like, I didn't see that you called me. Maybe because I was on a 3-way or I was trying to dial out. And imagine that's a lead or that's a client. I just missed out on, just like you're saying, if each call is worth this value, and even be able to have those metrics. I think sometimes we don't have those metrics measured. As entrepreneurs, we need to take time to really look at our numbers, because the numbers actually will help you to know the opportunity cost, and not just how much is this software costing me or this service costing me, but what are you losing? What opportunities are you losing on the table? So just like you mentioned about the missed calls, we actually have a system we've set up, and for our clients, we're doing proposals right now with clients. So if you're interested in us working with you, this is just a small tidbit out of what we're offering, but we have a solution where we've the hybrid of automation and AI. Okay, so it's not just one part or the other, right? So the automation part is, okay, someone gives you a call, you miss the call. Imagine a text is sent immediately to that person to follow up.
Totally.
Imagine maybe like 10 minutes later, maybe the person didn't respond back, even though you sent a text to them. You send another message that, okay, do you need help? Do you want to set an appointment? Or even send an email to complement that as well. I love the text message part because, a lot of us are on our phones. Sometimes we don't check our emails. But the fact that you're able to respond to the client within the first 5 minutes, which is one of the goals objectives we're developing for our clients. The first 5 minutes is very critical. Somebody inquires, whether by calling or filling out a form online or being on a live chat. If you can respond to them as quick as possible, you're most likely your score has already gone about 80 to 90% of closing that deal, right? Because people are not patient nowadays. Like, I'm searching through Google, I found you, and I tried to contact you, I can't reach you. I've closed that window. I'm going to the next person. So being able to be on the top with your competitors, which a number of your competitors might not be doing this, and you don't have to have a 24/7 live chat. That is where the automation comes in. So we actually kind of reach out to that client through text message and say, hey, how can I help you? Or you can schedule an appointment directly with me. I'm in the middle of something right now, but something that looks personal, which is where even with the message that they sent, we're careful about AI, even in integrating AI and how we manage it, because sometimes AI can say some stupid things because it's not really fully there yet. So that's why I said some of it's automated, some of it would be intent, because like AI can detect if the response from the client is a positive intent or a negative intent, and then you can use that to take the next action or the prospect. So there are a number of things we put in place, but that's just a small part of that journey. And what we do, like Lena was explaining, is that we sit down with the clients and we do a strategy call with them and see the gaps and opportunities, so that we can map out the customer success journey from when it's a lead all the way to closing, which will require some nurturing, and then reactivating existing clients. Articles and reports have shown that it costs you more to get a new client compared to actually working with existing clients and upselling, cross-selling some products and items with your existing clients. So it's exciting moments, honestly. Working with clients on this.
Absolutely. So you said customer success journey. And so it's something I learned a few years ago. I took a class on LinkedIn. I loved it, but I loved it also because I don't like to lose money, right? So the opportunity cost is actually, so the history of it is a customer success journey actually was, that word and term was established in tech, because there was like loss of clients, not only helping to nurture your current clients, but also how are you helping new clients continue and maintain them, right? So can you explain what is customer success journey? Because there might be some people who don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think the simplest way to explain it would be just looking at even the two keywords, right? There's the customer and there's a success, right? And then what would really what would a successful experience be like for a customer, and also for you as a company? And it's customer focused, right? So it's like, okay, I want the customer to have this kind of experience at the end of the day, right? I want them to from just not just buying the products, because sometimes we focus so much on buying the products or the service and forget about the experience of the customer, how satisfied they are. And that's where all the different milestone points are plugged in, whether it's you're sending out a survey to get feedback from the client so you can improve on your services, showing that you care about your customer. I hope you do. So, so the whole experience is from when a prospect actually reach out to you to the lifetime of that client with you.
Right.
So you're on a journey with the customer and making sure, even if it's birthdays, anniversaries, checking on them, being concerned about, setting up discount coupons, rewarding the people that have been with you for a long time, getting even referrals from them, supporting what they're doing as well, supporting the business or opportunities and things like that. So it's a long-term relationship, and the longer you can actually build that, which becomes a business culture or similar to like you have Apple, right? So with Apple, they have a great customer success system in place to make sure that when their new products come up, you rush into want to get them. Like you're like, hey, it's out, even though it has bugs and all that stuff. And that's another thing I want to just explain as well.
Yeah.
Part of the customer success is being very responsive. It doesn't mean that you have all the answers. It doesn't mean that you'll get everything right, but you care about your customer.
Yeah.
We checked with one of the clients and we're looking at the Google reviews, for instance. Now, they had a number of Google reviews, but there were some negatives. And within all the reviews, the company did not respond to the customer. Now, for new prospect that comes in, they just look at it like they don't care about their customer. They don't care to respond. Yeah, you could, the client can give a bad review. There's hardly any company out there that doesn't have a bad review if they have a lot of clients. AT&T, Apple, whatever, name the big companies, they have it. But when you're not responsive, and I understand why, about times, because you're too busy, this is where automation comes in. Automation and AI can actually respond back and say, thank you for the review you posted concerning, we really love it. We can actually automate all that too. We can also automate being able to get reviews from your clients. It's tedious. We'll always say, oh, go send me a review. Go send me a review. We can actually set that up also on automation. Once the job is completed, a review request is sent out. It's sent via email, text message. We can even do that sequence. Maybe they forgot about it. We'll remind them through the automation until they respond to it. So imagine you have about 250 reviews online or 1,000. Your trust and credibility grows and reputation. So we also have systems in place for reputation, because as we're talking about sales and marketing, we need to people need to build trust with you, right? Trust is very essential. We can have the testimonials, which are good, but when you have a third party entity like Google or Yelp or one of those listing platforms, people trust that a little bit more because people can make fake testimonials now on their website. So yeah. So
awesome that you share that. So, something so simple as if someone was on the website and they just needed help with one thing and, how do I access this, or where is this on the website? Maybe something's not as easily visible. And then there was just one and you're like, oh, and is there something I can help you with? Or like, oh, we just wanted to see, how do I export these files, or just one question. And you're like, oh, we can help you with that. And then also it has this other feature, and just answering that question for the customer goes, oh, otherwise they might cancel the service, cancel the product. And so, but we don't think about that, right? And so we're like, so example is, it's just like you're going to a restaurant and there's a lot of people waiting. They don't want to wait because they don't have a reservation, so they walk away. And some people go, well, that's normal.
It is so good,
right? And so, but how many customers did you lose that day? Was it 5, 10, 20, right? And you're like, well, they didn't book a reservation. But if you go to McDonald's is not a 5-star restaurant. You can go to the person. There's only probably 1 or 2 people who are going to take your order. There's a kiosk. There's an app you can order ahead of time, and you can also have it delivered, right? So there really probably shouldn't be anybody waiting in line, because there's different ways that you can, some people don't like the kiosk. They're like, I don't know how to use that. So they go straight to the front register. And so just thinking about like answering that question for the customer, or questions, right? There are a few, so that you can manage and maintain, right? And I think you also talked about reputation management. And I think, for me, I'll say I wouldn't probably have labeled it that way, and how important it was, or is. But as I hear my peers say like, oh, what are the ratings on Yelp? I'm like, oh my God. Like, Lena, you don't know that. And if it has 300, it has to have 300 reviews. So there's their own standard of like, what does everybody say about this restaurant or product or company because they have those reviews and they look at that reputation management. And so I think we have to pay attention to that. It's not going to go away. It's only going to become stronger, right? And so yes, you can have your Amazon orders and those come in 2 days, but and that's not a personal touch. We're not looking for anything there. But in other things that are like a service, we are looking for a personal touch, and we're also looking for that what you call like responsiveness, right? And so I think you have a term on the, is it called the first five? What is that?
Yeah, yeah. The first five concept is, and I didn't come up with it, by the way. The fast five. The concept is that in the first 5 minutes
Hmm?
that someone inquires about your company online, whether it's from social media, Google search, email, text message, phone call, you need to be able to get back with your clients within the first 5 minutes. Most companies, most small businesses that don't know about this, they get back 24 hours later,
Hmm.
6 hours later, 12 hours later. You see, what's that saying about hitting the iron while it's hot? You know, so yeah, you hit it later on, it's cold already, so
You
you're not
moved
going to get
on.
the same results. You're going to start all over again, put it back into the heat. That's why we talk about hot or warm leads. I wanted to say hot leads. Hot leads too exist, right? So
Yeah.
warm leads, so you want to really move fast. Now, we know you're busy. We know you have a lot of things going on. But sometimes even just the client knowing that you're responding back to them is enough to get that warm lead, right? But when everything is silent, nothing, I mean, they just move on to the next thing or they forgot about it, So you want the first 5 minutes. We have that rule that we're going by where we develop systems for our prospective clients to have the first 5 minutes. You need to be able to respond back on every channel that is out there. So we set up automation for that. So that is so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So streamlining all in one platform. It's not, they're not clicking open different websites, right?
correct,
And so,
correct.
because I've
Yeah,
heard some people
the
go, oh yeah,
unified, yeah,
yeah.
the unified inbox. So yeah, definitely. And we're gonna have a webinar very soon where you can join us on the journey of how our platform is, because between Lena and I, we're strategists, developing solutions for clients and scaling and growing. But then we've put together tools in place to help enhance that experience, right? So I totally love what I do. I love working with businesses, getting clarity first.
Mm.
Where are we going? Where are you? Where are you going? And then how do you get there, right? And then other times, and this I didn't know the difference, total difference between these two things, between growing and scaling before. At least I thought they were similar. They sound similar, but they're actually different, right? Because you can be growing, your business can be growing, but you're not scalable. And it's okay if you're a company they are not interested in scaling. But if you really want to scale, which takes you to the next level, there's certain systems that have to be set in place for scalability. So when Lena was using the example of the restaurant, some restaurants, they're okay with that. Wait for 1 hour, 2 hours. They don't have intention of scaling. They just want to grow. And, the people, they focus more on the quality of the food and the experience. And people would run there and wait and wait and wait, right? While some may want to scale, and in scaling, then you have to put all this like an omni channel out there, or multiple ways of actually ordering, or then you're able to even now replicate yourself. That's where scaling actually gets very interesting, where you can replicate yourself and the business is running and you're not even there, and more, you can bring in more people to actually use the same system. So I'll use the example of McDonald's. McDonald's is a scalable business. So they set up the systems, everything is, a number of things are automated, they're standardized, you can roll out things repetitively. The standard can be replicated across multiple platforms or multiple locations, sorry, to be very specific in this one. And that standardization and automation. And I won't be surprised if there's some AI involved too in the whole process, whether in training and all that stuff. So if you have intention of scaling, which is not for everybody, then you need to take this into consideration. And if you don't have intention of scaling, also it still can save you time and efficiency and save cost and cut down overhead and I know people say, "Oh, AI is going to replace people." No, the people that know how to use AI are going to replace the people that don't know how to use AI. That's what's going to
Mm.
happen. Yeah. So
It's the same, right? It's so those who want to learn how to use computers and technology, they're going to have more opportunities, right? And so it's really about like putting the right tools in our toolbox for that success. That's what I always say. And people go, "You always say that." I go, "Well, why would you have less tools?" It's about being successful. And so, so with that, what do you see is do you you know? Because I want to say people, we kind of talk about this daily, where because I still hear it. I do hear some people very afraid of AI, understandable, but also that some people are not.
uh-oh.
They just use it as like a newsletter. So they think it's like, well, it's hey, Lena, I use ChatGPT and I create my newsletter, and so but I mean, it can do so much more than that, right? So I think it's a pretty impactful product. I mean, it can do a lot for you.
Sorry about that. I think my camera went off,
Oh,
which was
oh,
weird.
well, to me, when I see it, I always remember the TV.
Ah, my God. I don't know what happened. I got disconnected somehow. So I'm out of focus. Let me see. Okay. I can't go back. I don't know why. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. If you just give a minute.
That's what we do. Love technology. It may
Yeah.
fall, it may break from us sometimes, but we still use it quite heavily. There we go. So yeah, so Addie and I talk about this daily. Yes, people, you can use ChatGPT AI. There are prompts, and I think that's another part of the product that we offer. And the service is that you don't have to do the prompts. We help you with that. And so, there's frequently asked questions that your customers may, maybe you're in real estate and they're typically, if you're residential, they're typically looking for, like they know the type of houses, or like, here you have you been, what you as I know, real estate officers ask. Or agents ask, like, have you been pre-qualified? Like, why move in the direction of having a conversation with a client when they haven't even pre-qualified for a loan? That means they don't have money that they don't know how much amount of money they can buy a home. And so imagine how much time can be saved already pre-qualifying. What have you been pre-qualified for a loan? Asking questions, frequently asked questions, a journey, right? Where you already know these questions they may ask, and that might take 20 minutes of a conversation. Again, multiply that times 10 times 100 clients, and that's a lot of time saved when you're using something that's going to optimize those questions, right? They're frequently asked questions. Your AI can already be guided for that. And so I know some people say, well, I don't know the prompts, I have to take a class for that. I'm like, you can. And so but that's where we come in and we help with identifying that, and so that it's all done for you. And so
Yeah.
the platform is very user friendly. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead with how it is. Sorry about that. The technology is not favoring me this morning.
It will
So
favor you. It will favor you. Amen. So
okay. So yeah. So just like you rightly said about the AI aspect, you mentioned about people getting scared about AI and uncertain about AI. Also, okay, some people are confidently approaching it. I think it's so important for us to understand the challenges with it, the pros and the cons, right? The ethics behind it as well. But there was one question I asked someone recently. I said, "Hey, in the past, people used to ghostwrite books, right? And there was no problem with that. Even politicians, big celebrities, even individuals were doing that. So, and someone else actually wrote the content for that person, right? So, if AI would actually assist you in that ghost writing by collecting data online to actually do that, and also you actually adding your personal touch to it. I think that's the important part with AI, being able to have that personal touch and know where to use it and where not to use it, right? AI can actually detect if somebody gave a positive review or a negative review. AI can also respond to things that are straightforward, like scheduling an appointment. Look at your calendar, look at what dates, and actually talk with the person and schedule that appointment with you, right? AI can check, maybe you have an inventory and you actually check your inventory for you, right? So there are different ways to actually use it, But I think the important thing is just like somebody can have. I want to use a very weird example. You know, maybe your credit score is really bad, but you're not checking it. You just because it's so bad that you don't want to check it. And the important thing is for you to actually go check it and get all the things on the table. I say, okay, these are the negative, these are the positive, this is where I am, this is my score, instead of being afraid of the unknown. So some of us were so afraid of the unknown that we stay away from it instead of just saying, let me understand what the system is so that way I can take advantage of that system. So that's how I look at it for AI, being able to just be informed. Don't be left in the dark so that when things are changing, you're actually catching on alongside. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you as well, so we do the marketing and sales. So what do you think is the most powerful part of our marketing and sales aspect of our service?
Sorry, say that again.
So what do you feel like is the most powerful part of our service when it comes to marketing and sales? Like, what would you say that would be?
Okay, so the most powerful, that's a very interesting question. I think you can have all the tools in the world. If you don't have the right strategy in place, you just have all the tools in the world. And I think with us coming on board with our clients, our wealth of experience in the industry, that cannot be, you can't how do you value that? That's just, it gives you that leverage that you need to take to the next level. I've been in business for about 20 years. I've tried different things, actually, talking about the ugly, the setbacks of our experience. I've done carpet cleaning. I've done trying to sell curtains, and we got those beepers. What do you call that? What do you call the thing again? There's this, you get text message on those beepers and you hang it.
The pagers.
Pager, there you go. Pager. I've driven ice cream truck into the neighborhood. I've done, what else have I done? I've done all kind of things. You like, oh, I tried to sell knives. They called us to come and sell knives. And I've tried to purchase McDonald's franchise. I've tried to go into a copy center, buy it as a franchise. I've researched into franchising. I've worked with companies in the oil and gas, worked with companies in the health, hospitality, education. What else? But the reason why I'm saying all this is I love seeing ideas becoming alive, becoming something tangible, right? People share when people share their ideas, I get excited, like, oh yeah, so let's do it. What are you gonna do now? Go ahead and pursue it. So what I realized is over the time with all this experience, it gave me a vast exposure in different areas, right? So most times I'm able to understand quickly people's industries and know what needs to be done. And I'm a very great researcher as well. And within 30 minutes, if you sit down with us for 30 minutes, you will get clarity. I can guarantee you that 30 minutes of our time, you'll get clarity.
Yeah.
If you're getting confused where to go, what to do, just spend 30 minutes with us.
Absolutely.
And you'll get clarity and you'll know what direction. So when it comes to sales and marketing, I believe the most important part is to even know where you're going and how to get there. The how, sometimes people don't know. They know where they're going, but they don't know how to get there. Then we cannot put the tools, technology in place, because it's all about aligning the technology with your objectives and where you're going with your sales and marketing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love that you said that, because I believe where our clients are they're either stuck or overwhelmed, and they don't know what to do next, or they are at top of their ceiling and they're ready for the next level. So they're ready for the next growth spurt, and they need help with that strategy to be able to do that, because it also has to be sustainable, right? And so I always just say, when you're growing, you grow out and you grow up, right? So with staff, resources, project, right? It has to be both, right? And so you can't be too top heavy. And it's really that framework. And because of all our experience, but also our technical, right? The tactical part of it is understanding the technology, understanding how to streamline, right? And so I think with one client, we were looking at their technology. They probably only used, maybe I would probably just guess 20%, because they didn't really learn it. Just like your iPhone or your cell phone, right? You're using it at 20%. You're not using its full capacity, and the software wasn't talking to each other. So they have to open up each software, different windows, right? Different times. So that's very time consuming. And they didn't pay for a person in tech to come and show them how to connect everything. They're not sure, and they just left it there. And a lot of people do that. We do that. We do that at the gym. We're like, right? That's an example where you go, I don't know how to use that machine, so you don't use it. Instead of just asking, hey, how do I use that? So, right? What does it do? And so, how do I do that every day? And so, I think this is where we empower businesses to own that part of those challenges and that gap, and really turn that into profitability, high profitability. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the interesting thing, just so that people know the value we're offering to them. Instead of you hiring a CTO, a CMO, um, whatever C level that you're missing in your company, right? Maybe for strategy, marketing, and all that kind of thing, right? You get to buy a little bit of our time, and you can scale that up. Maybe you want 2 hours of our time every month, 15 minutes of our time every month. So now, because some of the challenges with, because we were talking with a client recently, and they said, look, you know what? I just don't want to deal with the technology part. We will help you.
We're almost crying.
We're partnering with you to take you to the next level.
Yes.
Oh, the marketing is just overwhelming. Don't worry. We'll partner with you to take you to the next level. And we'll work with you at the level where you are. So if it's just, oh, I need only 15 minutes, that's fine. We'll work with you. If you want 10 hours, if you want 40 hours, a month, or whatever number of hours, we work with you. Of course, once it becomes even much more larger, that'll be like a private experience and maybe exclusive to certain companies, right? Because of course, as we scale, we too will have to have a scalability platform in place so that we can scale with our experts on board. But that's the value we bring to you. I mean, you can go all over the web, go find all the tools, find all the software, do all that stuff. But the part of bringing our expertise, our wealth of experience into your company, what you would have achieved in a day, you're not spending a whole month to achieve. That's what we bring to the table. We will help you accelerate your marketing, will accelerate your scaling. And that's where the processes within the company, optimization, efficiency, all those things come in. Coaching, executive coaching, all that comes in, where we would save you that time, and we'll even open your eyes to other opportunities that are available for you, which can become other streams of income for your business as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you again for sharing that coaching, because I share this all the time, but the 3 Bs, right? Barriers, breakthroughs, and blind spots. And so as a business owner, you're very good at what you do.
I almost mentioned blind spot again.
Well, so sometimes, like, why say breakthrough? So this client that we're, potentially working with, and she's stressed out over technology. Imagine the breakthrough of her not just closing her eyes. I always say that people close their eyes, but the problem is still there. So you have to, like, if this is a problem for the 4 softwares to not talk to each other.
That was funny. Close your eyes.
You got passionate. And it's like, but a lot of people do it. It's stressful. And when you don't know something, you just want to put it back on the shelf and maybe it'll fix itself. But
it will fix itself. It will automate itself. I'm just kidding.
Yes. And as long as I've done business, people know about the opportunity, right? The problem, and they're like, yeah, I know it costs $30,000 a month, and whatever, we're gonna deal with it later, because they have other bigger problems, or there's other revenue coming in, so they don't think about the $30 is a big deal. But when you multiply it, right, and then also the other things we're not calculating, it's very expensive. And so, but the coaching can come in as a very powerful service that we offer, because they're not aware of what is not happening. They don't have that self-awareness of what they're kind of pushing away, or are they open to new opportunities, right? If they're open to how technology can help accelerate them.
Okay, I'm just going to stop you there for a moment. So tell us a little bit about your coaching, your executive coaching, because I want people to hear that part, because that's a very essential aspect of what we offer to our clients. So talk about that a little bit. Just talk about that. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. I think when we're working with businesses, we may have a certain reason why we, send proposals only, so I think we talked about this culturally. And so there's maybe culturally we're not aware, like we're following protocol because we're like, well, I've already sent them the proposal. So I may ask a client, why do you believe that you can't ask any further or set up a another meeting? And they're like, well, I don't want to bug them. And so I ask, did someone tell you that? And well, no. And it's like, but and then they'll say like, in my culture, they're a high authority, or I don't want to bug. Will come out and say it. And I go, okay. And so are you aware in corporate America or in the business sector that you can follow up, you can ask them questions, you're your own authority in your business. And so what would that look like for you moving forward if you take away the cultural values that you have and really kind of switch over a little bit to that business mindset, meaning in America, right? And so they're like, oh, well, then I would follow up. I would ask them, I would tell them everything. I'm amazing. And I'm like, right. So, but it's ask guided questions so that they start to be self-empowered going, oh, why do I think that? And so they're telling themselves, oh, it is something cultural. And it could be cultural, ethnic culture. It could be cultural, how they learn that corporate concept of business practice because they're like, this is how I always was taught, but that doesn't serve them anymore. And it's actually not going to help their business grow or themselves. And so it's really helping them with new levels of self-awareness. And then also empowering them, right? Their self-empowerment. So it's not like empowerment is like Addie empowers me. And then when Addie goes away, the empowerment, they don't feel any motivation. Self-empowerment is you always have your own motivation, your drive and ambition, and you own your own accountability, good, bad, or ugly. And so, and you don't beat yourself up for that. So you don't say, oh, if I wish this is what I get for not doing that. It's like, well, that's beating yourself up, right? So coaching is really about a transformative process for the business owner and really them identifying like how well they're doing, right? And it's a guided process. And then they're opening their mind to massive possibilities. And so things that they would not have seen before, even, just explored.
Yeah.
And so that's the power in coaching.
Yeah. And I would say that Lena is I want to say, like, she would inspect all the blind spots in your business.
Yeah.
And help you know what to do with those blind spots. Because one thing for you to locate those blind spots, another thing to know the journey of actually how to now resolve that, right? Sometimes we see entrepreneurs that say, oh, I don't need coaching, I don't need this, they don't understand that they're losing a lot on the table. And it may, even the accountability part, right? Because there's a lot I know. I mean, I watch videos, I read, I do all that stuff. I do watch videos more than reading. Let me correct that. But the accountability part is what you can't put a dollar on. Having somebody to actually assess the situation for you is what you can't do that. You can think you see everything, but you can't really see everything. It's not possible, because you're juggling all this multiple things, especially if you have a small team, right? So I think I want to place more value on that coaching aspect, and it's executive coaching, by the way. And she's certified for that as well. It's not just because a lot of people say, oh, they're a coach, but they don't really have the licensing for it. They're not certified for it. They could offer a good job, but they don't have the structured format to actually deliver a very high value to their clients. So that makes you exceptional when it comes to the coaching aspect for our clients.
Yeah. So I think, between the two of us, the way we work with our clients, we cover all the blind spots, right? Or anything that they can't see. So we ask them questions. And then when they're ready, right, or as we tell them, say, here are recommendations. And so it's a trusted environment. It's safe, right? And so we don't say, hey, you're doing this wrong, but really looking at it more from a growth lens, like, hey, have you looked at these options? And where is it that you want to go? And so I think because we have that like gentle kind of approach, but also the business savvy part, it really opens a door for us. And so not to mention that we're also people of faith.
Yeah, it was so good that you said that. I said, man, she segued into the very thing that I want to make sure I talk about today, which is our faith, and I've been thinking about that before this broadcast. And one of the things I was thinking about was just what we've discussed before about 100x. Our goal this year is to actually 100x everything we're doing and also help our clients do the same thing as well. So as I'm kind of ruminating on it, trying to figure out how that's going to happen. 100x looks like a really huge number. I found out what can really set us apart. 100x is actually the grace of God, and it's the multiplying factor of God in our lives, right? Where we've done the 10x, which is our efforts and putting as much with our, 10 fingers, 10x, and God steps in and say, I'm going to multiply that by 10 to become 100x. And so our faith is so essential. When we have our meetings, our strategy meetings, we pray, we seek the Lord's face. It's kingdom first. As a matter of fact, what connected Lena and I was kingdom. It started with kingdom. And so we start with kingdom, we continue with kingdom, we end with kingdom. And so if you're a person of faith, we want to encourage you that you would experience 100x. And if you're not, also we're inviting you to join us to come and use God's principles, the biblical principles, honesty, integrity, understanding your purpose, discovering the journey you're meant to go on, how to do it, what relationships to form. We're talking about coaching. Sometimes we have toxic relationships we need to cut off, have the right relationships in place. And of course, you can have all these things in place. The most important relationship is your relationship with the Lord, and having the Holy Spirit guide you on a daily basis in the process, and you will see 100x. So we're expectant of 100x for a number of companies this year. So
absolutely.
I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Awesome. And I do hear business people say 10x, but I think they may copy that from something else. I know where the framework comes from. You do too. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's not from a faith lens, right? It's from they copied it from somebody else and, we're going to 10x this. And so it's like a cliche, but really understanding like your favor, right, comes from above. And there's things that you cannot necessarily, it doesn't all come from just your work, right? Because there's doors of opportunities that open that you would not normally be able to open. So
yeah, awesome. Thank you for pointing that out. That's so essential to actually point that out. And 100x, it's not something that sounds good that we wanted to say. It's actually coming from Mark chapter 10. I had to say that part, because something may sound good. I'm like, oh yeah, 100x, let's do 1000x. No. It was gotten from Mark chapter 10 verse 29 and 30, and it specifically said that 100-fold for those who have given up certain things for Christ's sake, 100-fold. And so it's what the word of God says. And so in Daniel, it talked about how Daniel and his friends were 10 times better than the colleagues. So I was like, oh, but Lord, you said 10 times here. And as I was meditating and chewing on that, I realized that, okay, you have to understand that they were 10 times better than the elite in the community. The elite in the community were 10 times better than the average person in the community. So 10 times 10 will be 100x. So that means Daniel and his friends, they were 100x. I was like, woo! I was just blown away.
And people get excited about that. Like,
I'm telling you. And that's like, okay, what kind of results, what does it look like for a business to be 100x? What does results look like? And that's what we need to start thinking and seeing and believing God for it. Even though you may have little right now, God can multiply that little as we submit it to Him. As we say, look, you are the CEO of this company, you are the one that gives me strategy, you're the one that guides me, and He can 100x it. He will 100x it. Awesome. It reminds me, oh my goodness, I can continue preaching. Let me stop.
No, it's awesome.
It just reminds me of what Jesus did, right? The little boy with the little bread, the little fish, gave it to him. He blessed it. Thousands were fed. We're praying that this year, with your little, what you have, that you think, oh, I'm just doing this small business behind your backyard. No, you're going to feed thousands. You're going to reach thousands. As you submit it to the Lord, you follow instruction. 100x is what we're expecting for you. Yeah.
Amen. So I'm just going to, tag it as, not necessarily always calling it the side hustle, but the holy hustle, right? So you're like, oh, that's why you always got to have a little side hustle. And I'm like, we don't have to badmouth corporate America, right? You could it's what is it that you're cultivating? And so that it is growth for your calling, your purpose, right? And so not necessarily like, you know what, I don't have to listen to them. I don't boss. It's like, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do cultivating that that holy, right? So it's not the side hustle, it's the holy hustle. It's that,
Woo!
it's
Holy also. That's a good one.
right. I'm like, wait, why would you have to minimize and say something negative, but it's say positive and like really invest that time and energy into that in prayer. So,
Yeah. And just to tag on what you just said, the the greatest things sometimes they're packaged in little, you know, a little voice of the Holy Spirit. You don't take it lightly, the little boy that brought the little bread, the little fish, the word of God. He said, and faith like a mustard seed, little, those little, they carry so much potential, just like an atomic bomb that is so little, but yet it can tear up a whole nation. It's the same way also, there's some great ideas God has dropped in your spirit. They look little and you can dismiss them easily because you have not seen the manifestation of that seed, because every seed has a destiny um, designed into it to bring forth a tree or a plant that will produce fruits that will actually feed nations. So that your little idea that you're saying, oh well, it's just a side also, it's just little, this one, I'm nothing. Stop seeing yourself as little. See yourself as great in Christ. See yourself that God has given you a great assignment. People are actually waiting for you. Can you imagine that? People are waiting for you. You have an answer. I wonder if that little boy knew that he was going to be the answer for thousands. When he brought his little bread and little fish, like, oh, I just got this little bread, little fish. It's just for my lunch. I don't have that much. And yet he brought that little. So as we bring our little before the Lord and he lays his hands upon it and bless it, thousands are going to be blessed, because there are thousands that are hungry for what you have. You say, oh, I don't think anybody's going to listen to you. Who told you that? I don't think I have any answer for anybody. Who told you that? Like, step out, step into the water, be like Peter, like, step into the water. Don't be afraid. Trust the simple little voice of Christ saying, come and step into the water, day by day. Be consistent, be persistent. Sometimes we focus so much on the long journey when we should focus on the little steps, because the little steps is what builds up to the long journey. And so step by step, daily, one by one, and it builds up. Yeah.
I love that.
Amen.
That's awesome. So why stay in the boat when, God called you to walk on water? It's time to walk on water.
Water walkers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think we've gotten to the 5 minutes top of the of our broadcast.
Awesome.
I don't know, there's anybody in the chat has any questions for us? Nope. I'll just drop in a little thing for one of our broadcasts. I don't know when this will come up, but I would love to share in one of our broadcasts how I lost $400,000 opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of dropping a teaser. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh yeah, because you need to know, right? When you do big things, sometimes big things that are negative happen, right? So it's good,
and
bad,
the lessons I learned from it.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, awesome. Right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today with Addie and I from Success and Setbacks. We're from Cobbletree, and so we've launched our business, and we want to help you with AI, automation, and optimization. So we are ready to set up an appointment with you to really look at your business in a holistic, but also a comprehensive way to see, like, where can we help you grow and where can we help you scale and really reach your goals, this year. Yeah. So let's do it.
Yes, just DM us AI for sales and marketing. If you want that, just DM AI and we're going to respond back instantly.
DM AI. DM AI. Amen to that. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay.